There is an idea that most people carry without ever questioning it. The idea that cities and nature are opposites. That urban life means concrete, glass, and separation from the living world. That the higher you rise, the farther you move from the earth. But what if that assumption is not only wrong, it is also the most expensive mistake civilization has ever made? For most of human history, cities and forests coexisted. Ancient Rome was threaded with gardens. Medieval cities were surrounded by woodland. Persian capitals were built around living water and shade. But the Industrial Revolution changed everything. Density became efficiency, speed became progress, and nature became something you visited on weekends, something separate, something outside. The 20th century built cities that functioned like machines, optimized for movement, production, commerce, not for life. And for a long time, that seemed like a reasonable trade. Now, a growing number of architects, urban planners, and ecologists are asking a different question. What if the machine model of the city is simply finished? What if the next chapter of urban civilization requires something fundamentally different? Not cities that consume nature, but cities that become nature. Seen from the water, this architectural vision offers one of the most striking possible answers to that question. Glass towers rise from a tropical marina, but their facades are almost entirely consumed by cascading vegetation. Ferns, palms, flowering vines, dense tropical canopy plants draping between every floor. At first glance, it reads as beauty, as luxury, as an extraordinary visual statement. But what you are actually looking at is infrastructure. Nature used not as decoration, but as a building system. This idea has a name: living architecture, and it is one of the most consequential movements in contemporary urban design. The principle is straightforward, but its implications reach far beyond aesthetics. When a building's exterior is covered in living plants, the structure begins to behave differently. The vegetation creates a thermal buffer, dramatically reducing heat absorption from direct sunlight. In dense tropical and subtropical cities, buildings are among the single largest contributors to what urban planners call the heat island effect. The phenomenon where cities become measurably hotter than the surrounding landscape simply because their surfaces absorb and radiate solar energy. Glass and concrete store heat. Plants release it. They cool the air through transpiration, the same process that makes a forest feel different from a parking lot on a summer afternoon. Living facades don't simply look like nature. They function like it. The approach here also hints at something that architects in Singapore, Milan, and a growing number of forward-thinking cities have been exploring for the past 2 decades. In 2014, Stefano Boeri completed the Bosco Verticale in Milan, 2 residential towers carrying over 900 trees and thousands of shrubs and perennial plants across their balconies. The project was initially received as spectacle, a provocation, a beautiful architectural gesture. But what happened next surprised even its critics. The towers began attracting birds and insects back into a dense urban neighborhood. Biodiversity returned to a part of the city where it had been absent for generations. The plants filtered particulate matter from the air. They reduced noise. They created microclimates on each floor that changed how the interiors felt in every season. What began as a vision became evidence. Evidence that cities could function differently, that architecture could produce life instead of simply occupying space. Singapore took that evidence and built an entire urban philosophy around it. The city-state, one of the densest places on Earth, made a decision in the early 2000s that would redefine what a tropical metropolis could look like. It would not simply plant more trees along its streets. It would integrate nature into the vertical surfaces of the city itself, into its facades, its sky bridges, its hotels, its transit hubs. The result is a city that today looks less like a traditional urban center and more like a garden that happens to contain skyscrapers. Singapore proved something radical: that density and nature are not enemies, that you can build upward and outward into the living world at the same time. The wooden dock approaches the entrance across still water. On either side, the silence of a marina. Arriving here by water is not accidental. Throughout history, the most intentional works of hospitality have always understood that arrival is a ritual, that the journey toward a place changes what that place means when you finally reach it. But there is something deeper happening in this particular approach. The water, the palms, the towers dissolving into greenery above. This arrival is designed to do something specific to the traveler. It is designed to dissolve the city, to create a moment of geographic ambiguity, where you are no longer certain whether you are entering an urban building or crossing the threshold into a living forest. That ambiguity is not an accident. It is the point. Step inside, and the philosophy becomes architecture. The entrance atrium rises several stories toward a glass ceiling. Mature trees grow from the floor, their canopies reaching upward. A marble fountain at the center produces the constant sound of moving water. And here, in this interior, is where the vision of this project becomes most radical. Because this is not a lobby that contains plants. This is a lobby that is inside a garden. The distinction matters more than it first appears. Most buildings that incorporate greenery treat it as addition, plants placed within architecture. This concept proposes the opposite. Architecture placed within plants. The building is a guest inside the forest, not the other way around. That inversion represents something significant in the evolution of hospitality design. For most of the 20th century, luxury hotels communicated their value through materials. Marble, crystal, gilded surfaces, controlled interiors sealed against the outside world. The ultimate luxury was separation. Separation from weather, from noise, from the unpredictability of the natural environment. But something has shifted. The most forward-thinking hospitality projects of the past decade are moving in the opposite direction entirely. They are discovering that the deepest form of luxury is not separation from nature. It is immersion in it. Particularly for travelers arriving from the world's most congested, overstimulated cities. The rarest thing a hotel can now offer is not a larger suite or a higher floor. It is the sensation of being completely surrounded by living things. And perhaps that is the most important question this vision leaves us with. Not whether a hotel like this is beautiful. It clearly is. Not whether it is innovative. The answer is obvious. But whether it points towards something larger, whether the cities of the next century will finally learn what this architecture already understands, that nature is not an amenity, not a feature, not a weekend destination outside the city limits. Nature is infrastructure, the most sophisticated, most resilient, most intelligent building system ever designed. And it has been available to us for 400 million years. By 2050, nearly 7 billion people will live in cities. And the question of what those cities look like, what they feel like, what they do to the air, the temperature, the biodiversity of the planet, may be the defining design challenge of this century. Buildings like this one suggest that the answer does not require choosing between density and nature, between ambition and ecology, between the city and the forest. It suggests, quietly but powerfully, that those things were never opposites to begin with. The only thing that made them feel that way was the willingness to imagine something different. And that willingness is finally arriving.